Interestingly, also, there are smarter people that are trying to get a different result than what the polls will tell us, including people trying to change the view of regional Australia. I'll give you the tip. It's made up right now. I'm not entirely sure there's much of it left to be changed. But again, in the Turnbull times, when they weren't going on saying that people, as part of their No campaign, are echoing the words of the settler, the colonialist, the invader, depending on your perspective. Regional Australia believes in a fair go, so what does that mean for the voice? As a bloke in regional Australia right now, but obviously lives around, Rocky, Yeppoon, spends plenty of time with Pauline at the back of Birdsville. Do you think that a no vote fundamentally clashes with the concept of the fair go, James?
No, not at all. This is not anything about a fair go. This is about a divisive piece of, legislation which is about to go to a referenda, and Australians don't want to be pitted against one another, black versus that of every other race in the country. I'm sorry, it just doesn't cut the mustard with the average person, and as it's been rightly identified, even the young voters are 50-50. The older you get, the more divisive you actually see this. And this isn't about being racist. This is about a clear-cut decision that Australians need to make. Do you really want to divide the country any further than what it already is? As it is after this referendum, there's going to be some enormous healing required because we've had a Prime Minister that's been determined to divide us as a country. So, look, I'm really puzzled as to how this is going to end, but 2 more weeks of it and then it's done and the healing begins.
Yeah, I mean, now, again, you travel in regional Australia and you can find a mayor that's hard no and find a mayor that's hard yes, right? And rather than getting you to talk about that, I want to talk about the early voting, which starts off tomorrow. Australians have now shown that they love to turn up early because I've got other stuff on or can't be bothered waiting till the Saturday. Do you think that we're going to see basically a retread of federal election early voting, or on something like this, people for some reason will want to vote on the Saturday more than, look, I live in a safe seat, it doesn't matter, just get it out of the way, I hate both the politicians, because the most passionate yes and no supporter, I'm not sure that they really want anything other than the full experience, which is the Saturday. What do you think, Linda?
No, because referendums are so different, aren't they, to normal elections. I do want to give a plug, though, for Alexandria Park Public School in the inner city, because they're having a barbecue on the day of the referendum. You should go down there and support the PNC. But I think it is the case that lots of people, like any other election, do get pretty hyped up about the day. It's obviously a great day for many of the places that are schools, and they're holding sausage sizzles and other things. But increasingly, of course, people always work on Saturdays, and so they do need to vote early. I still think there are a huge number of Australians that don't know there is a vote happening, and they don't know that they have to vote. And I think there will not perhaps be early voting for that reason. And so, we all of us, and James and I, fundamentally disagree. I'm a very strong, personally, yes supporter, but I'm sure the campaigns will really ramp up the awareness of the fact that people need to vote, and it'll be a big turnout game in these last 2 weeks, because I think there will be a higher proportion than normal of people who don't vote, and so in some respects this campaign now will be won on who's able to turn out their side the most effectively.
Well, and James, you know this, right? Minor party is that there's only so many hands and feet you can get in and around the ground. Now, very obviously, despite the fact that the polls are pushing in a certain direction, we know where the money is, we know where the volunteers are, we know where the machine is of everything from the union movement to the Teal movement to the Labor Party, the Greens, all the rest of it. So the capacity to go and try to, for want of a better term, get out the vote. But again, what do you think here? For the people watching us right now, they're going to be the hard yes, the hard no. Are they just going to go tomorrow to get it done? I don't want to talk about this again for another 2 weeks, or they want it on the Saturday?
Well, Linda's right. The Denny Ute Festival was on over the weekend in Deniliquin, and I can tell you now, if you asked half a dozen people at the Ute muster over the weekend, they wouldn't have had any idea this was even happening. So the issue is, it doesn't matter how much money the Yes campaign have got, how much they're going to throw at this on social media and in the media. We saw a billionaire in this country throw $80 and $100 million at election campaigns and come up with very little result, one senator in Victoria. So, look, this isn't about money. This is about home conversations amongst families where mums and dads have chats over the fence with their neighbours or their own kids. That's where the decision making is going to be happening, is over the phone with family and friends or around the dining table or at the barbecue. But it's not going to be, people in this country won't be pressured by TV commercials. I can assure you right now, John Farnham has fallen flat on his face with his decision to lend The Voice his song, You're the Voice. And look, if you can't win people over with things like that, this is why it's going down. People recognise it's divisive and it's not going to solve anything for Indigenous people in this country.